Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are watching Star Trek, the original series, Episode 2, Charlie X. Now, it's usually a safe bet to assume I know nothing about the original series, and you will be more right than you are wrong about 99% of the time. However, when it comes to this term, Charlie X, I have never heard of this episode. I have never heard of what Charlie X refers to. Is it a ship? Is it a person? Is it like a mission? Is it a military designation? Alpha, Bravo, Charlie? No clue. So let's jump into this and see exactly what or who Charlie X is. My friends, if you could do me a solid and hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications for whenever we go live on YouTube with all of our Star Trek and sci-fi related content. And if you would like to further your adventures and you don't mind me too much, there's a link down in the description to our Patreon. There you can see full-length watch-alongs and reactions, as well as getting things early and some Patreon exclusives. But my friends, that is then, this is now, and it's time for us to return to the NCC 1701 and figure out what our friends are up to, and figure out who or what is Charlie X. My friends, there's only one thing left to do. Engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go.
Captain's log, stardate 1533.6. Now maneuvering to come alongside cargo vessel Antares.
Antares.
First officer are beaming over to us with an unusual...
Oh, this is the Pike Strange New Worlds rap. I like Kirk's better. Couldn't find it. I definitely like Kirk's better. Ah, the original unis from
Captain
the cage.
Raymar. I'm Captain Kirk. And this is our young castaway, Charlie. Charlie Evans, his dossier. Mr. Evans.
Charlie Evans or Charlie X?
Wonderful boy, Charlie. We felt
It's been
quite
a great
honored being the
pleasure
ones
having
that
him
found
aboard with us. Why, it's been a great pleasure.
To think this boy spent practically his whole life alone on that planet. Everyone killed, just a few microtapes to learn from.
How many humans like me on this ship?
Wow, okay.
Over 400 in the crew of a starship, aren't there, Captain?
428.
428. That's more than on the cage.
Hundreds. All human like me. That's exciting.
So this kid was a castaway or sole survivor.
But with his closest living relatives in Colony 5 and your vessel going that way, what?
I'd like to see your ship now.
You keep interrupting, Mr. Evans. That's considered wrong.
Ooh.
Not even sorry and brandy?
We're fine, thank you. Pleasant journey, Captain.
Thank you.
They seem to want to get off the ship pretty quick.
Come to his quarters and drop his records off at Dr. McCoy's office, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Careful, Yeoman Rand. I'm not sure Charlie has seen a girl.
Are you a girl?
Help him out a little bit, Kirk. The directors love to frame that close-up of Bill Shatner. I noticed that in The Man Trap a lot, too. I'm fired up. I hope this is good. I was told, obviously, that this is remastered, the space shots and the VFX. I mean, I was pretty sure it was, but...
The sole survivor of a transport crash 14 years ago.
Well, that's pretty cool.
The ship's supply of food concentrates couldn't have lasted 14 years.
After that, I found other things to eat.
And you learned to talk by just listening to the ship's tape?
Lucky you didn't poison yourself, kid.
Sound of wind and limb.
That's pretty impressive. Nothing? No health issues at all after living alone on a planet?
Do you like me?
Why not?
The other ship, they didn't like me.
Why is that, Charlie?
Show you to your quarters.
I am catching... There was a Twilight Zone about a boy who could wish for anything, and he kind of held his family hostage. It was actually, they redid it for one of the Twilight Zone movies, and I'm catching a whiff of this, like, omniscient type of thing from Charlie X. What's up in the Jeffries tubes?
Hello.
I was the guy just behind you in the Jeffries tube. Uh-oh. Charlie likes the ladies.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's my favorite.
How did you know that, Charlie? It's like you have abilities.
Look, I'm off duty at 1400. Why don't you join me in Recreation Room 6?
Okay, Charlie's 17, right?
Charlie? Charlie, you just don't go around slapping girls on
The ass, Charlie. It's bad form.
Okay, look, why don't you tell Captain Kirk or Dr. McCoy what you did, and they'll explain it to you.
Maybe McCoy. I've never seen Kirk do anything inappropriate with any of the female members of the crew. But I do know the rumors that he is a bit of a Romeo.
He's working out a training program for Charlie Evans, Earth history, his own background, that sort of thing. I'd like you to give him the necessary medical orientation on the problems of adolescence.
Puberty.
Strong father image like you, he already looks up to
The
you,
job
Jim.
is yours, Bo, and flattery will get you nowhere.
Doctor, didn't the boy make any reference at all to Thasians?
Do you believe the legend, Mr. Spock, that Thasians still exist on that planet in some form?
Charlie's very existence proves, in fact, there must be some intelligent form of life on Thasus. He could not possibly have survived alone.
Really?
The fact is, the boy is here, and he's alive, and he needs our help.
Look at this.
I'm sorry. I did it again, didn't I?
So do Spock and Uhura have something going on?
Oh, on the Starship Enterprise, there's someone who's in Satan's guise.
What?
And then his touch would barbarize.
Barbarize? And that is a smile Spock has on his face. A grin, or whatever. Smirk.
To find what he...
Nichelle Nichols, a beauty in every single way. You know, I've never seen her this young. I know her from the movies, and I absolutely loved her character there. She is absolutely infectious charm.
There comes a lad not commonplace.
Be careful. Charlie is off. These close, like, smoky shots are interesting. Interesting choice.
Turn 'em over.
It's all going to be the same card.
Well, how did you do that?
That's even creepier. The Ace of Spades. Oh, it was the Ace of Clubs, sorry. Okay, so he's got pretty substantial powers.
On Earth today, it's Thanksgiving. If the crew has to eat synthetic meatloaf, I wanted to look like turkey.
That's a conversation I wanted the whole conversation for. The end was great.
When Yeoman Round was, I did that to her. She didn't like it. She said you'd explain it to me.
Me.
What do we got here, Jim?
Things you can do with a lady, Charlie, that you...
This is some fine acting by Bill Shatner.
I mean, man to man is one thing. But man and woman, it's another thing. You understand?
Nobody does. Nobody understands that, Jim.
Kirk here.
Captain Ramart of the Antares is on D channel.
I'm on my way to the bridge now.
Can I come with you?
I don't think so, Charlie.
I won't get in the way.
Oh, that didn't take much convincing. I don't think so, Charlie. I won't get in the way. Oh, come on then.
I must speak to Captain Kirk.
Kirk here, Captain Robert.
Oh, did Kirk change his shirt in the turbo lift?
Re-establish contact.
They're not transmitting.
Try.
It wasn't very well constructed.
He did change his... That was a bit of a mess there.
You think something happened to the Antares, Charlie?
I don't know.
Why would I know? I certainly would know if they blew up.
What about the Antares?
The debris is what's left of the Antares.
Oh, so he has legit powers.
Captain Kirk from ship's galley.
Kirk
Oh,
here.
boy.
Sir, I put meatloaf in the ovens. There's turkeys in there now. Real turkeys.
So can this kid wish for whatever he wants and it happens? Because that is not great.
U-Spa headquarters notified of the mysterious loss of science probe vessel Antares.
It was a science probe vessel. I thought it was a cargo.
Your mind is not on the game, Captain.
Oh, you had just had a ship blow up, Spock.
He seemed to know what happened to the Antares before we did.
Yeah, Spock would pick that up. And he also knew what you just said, Spock.
Come in, Charlie.
I don't know the rules to 3D chess. Is it literally just a 3D version or 3D version of chess?
Checkmate.
Your illogical approach to chess does have its advantages on occasion, Captain.
It's called chaos.
To call it inspired.
As you wish. At any rate, the game is yours.
Is Kirk better than Spock at chess?
Can I try? I place you in the hands of our chess master.
Oh, okay, so Spock must be. I remember reading in the autobiography of James T. Kirk, he played chess. Learned it from his brother, I think. Be careful, Spock.
That was a mistake, Charlie.
No, it wasn't.
Checkmate.
No, it isn't.
Oh, he tried something with Spock. My Vulcan didn't fall for it. So he melted the pieces with his brain.
Oh, Charlie, I was looking for you. I'd like you to meet Tina Lawton, yeoman 3rd class.
Tina Lawton.
I thought you might enjoy meeting someone your own age.
She's 17?
I must be wanted somewhere.
She's a yeoman 3rd class, but...
That was rude and completely uncalled for.
But I don't need her. I want to talk to you.
Charlie, did those tapes you learned from not define asshole? Come on. Let's talk about being an asshole.
Girl, you smell like a girl.
Oh, for God's sakes.
You're the only one who looks like you. You can understand, can't you?
No, nobody can understand, Charlie.
If I had the whole universe,
You sort of do.
I feel like I'm hungry. All over.
Is Yeoman Rand throughout the whole series? Because she's not in any of the movies. I don't think, anyway.
And
I've already talked to him about the SWAT.
it's not that.
The lighting is strange in this episode.
Tell him to leave me alone.
The lighting is very strange in this episode.
I'm his first crush, his first love, and his first...
Yes, Yeoman, I'll talk to him.
I'm well versed in that, Yeoman.
Charlie, do you know anything about this chess piece? Did you notice anything peculiar in them when we were using them this afternoon?
No, sir. Is that all?
No.
Well, see, son, they're melted, and we didn't have a fire aboard the ship.
I hurt so much inside all the time.
I mean, he has to be psychologically damaged just from being alone. Now, if he's received some type of power or he had some type of relationship with an alien that gave him these powers, or that species they said they think still lives there.
She could love me.
She's not the girl, Charlie. The years are wrong, for one thing.
It's a nice way of saying it. The years are wrong.
Then what am I going to do?
You're not going to have Yeoman Rand as your wife, girlfriend, whatever.
Charlie, come on with me.
They stay on this kid's good side. Meanwhile, at Avengers HQ.
You gotta slap the floor to absorb the energy when you're...
Bill Shatner. You've got it, Charlie.
Good, that's much better. Yeah, now I'll show you a shoulder roll.
Doing his own stunts. Committing to the role.
Watch this, Charlie.
They would never let anybody do that nowadays.
That looks hard.
Come on, Charlie, try it.
We're all doing our own stunts. It's all one long shot. I am super impressed with Bill Shatner. I really am. He's super charismatic. Don't laugh.
Don't laugh at me!
What the hell? Can he bring him back? Or is he dead?
Laugh at people.
What happened to him,
He's gone.
What's that mean?
That's no answer.
He's
Right.
gone. I didn't mean to do that. He made me do it. He laughed at me.
This guy's going to be fun getting off the ship.
2 men from security on the double.
Affirmative.
What are you going to do to me?
I'm confining you to quarters.
I'll make them go away, too.
They won't hurt you, Charlie.
Is he killing them or sending them somewhere? No, 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 no.
No!
At least it was just the phaser. Kirk.
Go to your quarters.
I do not like the lighting. It's really grating.
Go to your quarters or I'll pick you up and carry you there.
I mean, Kirk has balls on him. He just saw him evaporate somebody and a phaser. And he's still talking shit. Love it. Tell me, Charlie, you feel lucky?
I won't let them hurt me.
Charlie, they're not going to hurt you. Just, you know, Kid Undertaker over here.
Kirk here.
Security reports that all phaser weapons have disappeared.
Whoa, shit.
Have Dr. McCoy and Mr. Spock meet me in the briefing room.
You got to assume that he can hear everything on the ship, too. That's why he shows up whenever he's being talked about.
Phasians have been referred to in our records as having the power to transmute objects or render substances invisible.
Transmutation.
No, I don't think so. Not unless they're exactly like Earthlings. The development of his fingers and toes exactly matches the present development of man's on Earth.
Probability is he's responsible for the destruction of the Antares, which would indicate a total disregard for human life.
He doesn't understand what life is. He's a boy.
Right.
We can't take him with us to Earth Colony 5. Can you imagine what he'd do in an open, normal environment?
Start killing people.
Well, for the moment he stopped.
He's not stopped. He's just taking a rest. What you doing here, Charlie?
You wanted to ask me something, he said.
You responsible for what happened to the Antares, Charlie?
Why?
Answer.
It's not an answer.
Yes? There was a warped baffle plate on the shield of their energy pile. I made it go away. It would have blown up anyway. Well, they weren't nice to me. They wanted to get rid of me.
So you killed 20 of them?
What about us, Charlie?
That all depends.
I don't know.
I'll be leaving now. And I'll be taking these here Huggies and any cash you have in the drawer with me.
You're in the hands of an adolescent.
It's arguably more terrifying than anything else you could experience out here.
Navigator, laying a course away from Colony 5. Buy me some time.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit.
Captain! I can't feed any course coordinates into the panel, sir. It rejects the course change. Helm doesn't respond either, sir.
I don't know either of these guys.
Your instruments?
Yes, sir. There's a tiger burning bright in the forest of the night.
You're trying to change course, Captain.
Oh boy. We're gonna have to kill you
can't
now,
do that.
Charlie.
I want to get to Colony 5 as soon as we can.
I'm sure you do.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary.
Very nice, Mr. Ears.
This kid is an asshole.
Don't you think he's funny? I think he's funny.
Leave my crew alone.
Shit, Jim, if he listens to you, that's the only weapon you have.
Charlie, what's wrong?
The hell, dude? Sporting this season's Aphrodite wear. This used to be Spock. Rand, be careful.
You don't walk into a room without knocking.
I love you.
Oh boy.
But you won't anyway.
Unfortunately, Janice, he just told you.
You.
Yep. That is super creepy. Oh, great shot. That ship. Love that ship.
No!
Johnny.
Yep, there she goes.
Did She'd do that?
I don't know, bud. Let's try to retrace your steps, see where you went wrong.
But I still need you, Captain. The Enterprise isn't quite like the Antares.
Here's the question. If he was completely in charge of the Antares, why didn't he just make it go to the colony? I mean, you got to get everybody back now, so you got to convince him to bring back Rand and, what was her name? Tina Lawton, the yeoman third class. Now the iguana.
Broken.
He broke his legs?
Try to hurt me again. I'll make a lot of people go away.
And what about Yeoman Janice? She dead, gone, destroyed?
He doesn't know.
I won't tell you.
Then how about we don't do shit?
I'm not a man and I can do anything. You can't.
Well, you can't hold a conversation.
I'll activate the force field myself. You can return to your section.
Aren't you coming in?
No, dickhead, I'm not.
Yeah.
Did he take it away or make it invisible? He took it away. Oh, this episode's very frustrating. What do you do? How do you solve when you've got a rogue god on your ship?
No laughing!
Holy shit. I mean, there's got to be, you know the ship better than him. Can't we, like, eject the turbo lift out into space?
Has he done away with anybody since he took over?
Not so far as we know.
And maybe he can't.
What do you mean?
Could be he's overreached himself. It's a big ship. He's taken full control.
He doesn't have it?
Turn on every device on the ship, every circuit, every light, all of it. If I could distract him, maybe you could tranquilize him. Keep him under. Until we reach Colony 5.
What? We can't take him there.
Anytime I want to.
Well, let's see what you got, Charlie. So did he do that to... Get out of that chair.
Charlie, and get out of it now.
I've got your ship, Captain.
Maybe, Charlie. But I don't think you can handle anymore. I think you've reached your limit.
It's a hell of a bluff here, Jim.
You've got my ship, and I want it back.
That's right,
I
Jim.
want my crew back, whole. I have to break your neck to do it.
There you go. Somebody else jump in.
Sorry.
Listen, Charlie. He's losing control. How about everybody jump him?
Captain.
Sir, something off our starboard bow. The message says they're from Faces.
Is that where he's teleporting everybody back to where he was from? Or that colony? You abused your powers, homie.
My friends.
We would have been, bud. We would have been. I mean, I have certain sympathy for Charlie, but he's so effing unlikable. Why don't you behave yourself?
Take me home?
I think they're going to.
We did not realize until too late that the boy had gone, and we are saddened that his escape cost the lives of the first ship. We could not help them. But we have returned your people and your ship to you.
I won't do it again.
Charlie, you're out of here, buddy.
I'll be good. I won't ever do it again.
Oh, we know you won't.
I'm sorry about the Antares.
It's 20 people, Charlie.
Help me.
Jim, this kid's gone.
The boy belongs with his own kind.
That will be impossible.
Wow.
With training, we can teach him to live in our society.
He will use it. Always. And he would destroy you and your kind.
Yeah.
And we will take care of him.
So if they take back the power, that would mean Charlie's life?
Come, Charles.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. It's like his abilities are like one of his senses. It's like asking him not to see anymore.
I want to stay.
That is supremely creepy. Sir, the antifreeze spill is left. I mean, Jim, there's nothing you could have done here. At least you got your crew back. The Antares lost all hands. I mean, there's got to be a punishment for that.
It's all over now.
Strange episode. All right, friends. That was Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 2, Charlie X. Let's talk about it. Okay, friends, just got finished watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 2, Charlie X. I didn't like it. Let me cut to the chase, everybody. I didn't like it. It's not to say that I again, whenever I get into these, my entire motivation behind watching all of these is I know I'm not going to like everything, and I'm certainly not going to love everything. But each one of these episodes is vitally important to me because I'm hoping to learn and retain as much as I can about these characters. And so while I didn't like the episode, I'll get into why I didn't like it in a second. Here are the things that I learned and the things that I did like. One, Spock, that little grin, that little smirk when he looked at Uhura. Now, and again, I didn't picture any of this as canon, so or even like alluding to canon, but the J.J. Abrams movies in the Kelvin timeline, which I know a lot of people have a very mixed reaction on those movies. I did see those movies, and in those movies, Spock and Uhura have a relationship, and I thought, oh, that must be new. But I just assumed because in the movies, again, I've seen all but the very first of the original series movies. Started with Wrath of Khan and went through all the way to, was it Undiscovered Country? Generations, if you count, Bill Shatner appearing. Having seen all of those, at never once in the movies did they mention a hint at a romantic or even a, deep friendship between Spock and Uhura. Yet I thought that first initial exchange that we had between the two of them, where he's playing his harp and she starts to sing, there's a moment between the two where he smiles a little bit at her, and she kind of looks at Yeoman Rand like, check out this tall drink of water. Hi, I'm from the 50s. It seemed like there was something there. And I would certainly love to, if they explored that more. I think that would be fantastic. That would be so great. And very surprising to me. So again, even if it doesn't amount to anything, I learned, that interesting thing. And the other thing I learned was that, I thought I had read somewhere, and some comments in YouTube actually made me kind of confirm this in my mind, that Spock, after the cage, in the cage, Spock has way more emotional output than we see him, especially at the time I watched The Cage, reflections in the movies of Leonard Nimoy's portrayal of Spock. Way more emotion, smiling, grabbing the humming plants and kind of smiling at Pike. A lot of stuff like that, definitely more emotional, definitely, they hadn't settled on the logic yet. But now in this one, we did see a little bit of a grin. I mean, it was, you can't argue that there was a grin when he was playing the harp and looked over to Uhura, which, a slight grin from the logic-based Spock to me would be like a full-on, smile from anybody else, or like another kind of a grand show of affection, whereas the little smile from Spock equates that in Vulcan output. But yeah, that I liked that quite a bit. I liked Kirk's acting. There's a couple times, everybody always talks about Shatner having, more powerful acting and that type of stuff, but I don't see that a whole lot. In the Man Trap, I thought he was very organic. There was a scene in the Man Trap where he's eating something on the bridge, and it just seemed so casual. It was a very effortless acting. We saw that again a little bit in Charlie X, where, it was just a very casual, almost a banter driven. A lot of times in early TV, I feel that when you watch it, you can almost see the stage play inside of it, whether it's a sitcom or whether it's, especially something that's like before a live studio audience. Now, I know that Star Trek obviously is not, but, some of the other ones, holding for applause, holding for laughter, that type of stuff. But again, even when there isn't a studio audience, there's still sort of those theatrical elements that are put in, you know, with line delivery and a beat, and a line delivery and a beat, you know, deliberate crossing, deliberate, you know, whenever they're kind of staging the entire set or whatnot, you see like you're walking on a line, or, you know, stepping on someone else's line to interrupt, and that person's stopping before because they know they're going to be interrupted. You see a couple of those things happen. With this in particular, I thought that you saw a very organic, again, from Bill Shatner, a very organic level of acting. And this was the first time, too, for me, that I saw a young Leonard Nimoy really have a couple meaty scenes and do very well with them. A couple inconsistencies in the episode. Now, wait, let me finish with what I liked about everything. So I really liked Kirk. I really like Spock, getting to see him a little bit more, and the interactions between those two, which are always gold. You know, anytime that, you know, in Man Trap, when Spock and Kirk were together, gold. And it just continues. Somebody said on YouTube, again, a comment that said, you know, their charisma is immediate. Their chemistry is, you know, when they're on screen together, they are a very powerful duo. And I couldn't agree more. I think they command attention, even in with the rest of the cast around. When Spock and Kirk are interacting, that takes center stage. I mean, it's supposed to, but it just commands it. What are they going to do next? Your eyes are drawn to them. Really great stuff. The last thing that I liked a lot about this episode was, wow, the gymnasium, the long shots of Will Shatner taking a couple forward rolls, taking a couple drops, and the shot continuing. So if they messed up the second round of stunts or whatnot, they'd have to do the whole thing over again. I found that very impressive. You know, especially since, you know, boy, age just absolutely, you know, Father Time is undefeated. But boy, oh boy, I mean, again, I, as a middle-aged guy myself, looking back and, you know, Bill Shatner, for the day, for the 60s, built like a brick shithouse. I mean, having that carriage about himself, you know, and I know that Bill Shatner's not a particularly tall guy, but, you know, again, that takes a lot of guts in any decade to take your shirt off, get on, you know, anybody asking you to do that. And I think that that is appropriate, because they are asking those ladies to go around in those micro short uniform skirts, which is anything but practical, but whatever, that sign of the times and whatnot. But I think it was kind of cool that Bill Shatner agreed to do that, and then really committed. I've seen a lot of acting commitment, especially with the physical stuff, from Bill Shatner. In Man Trap, I mean, he dove down into the sand, low crawled, all him. And in this one, even more so, taking those bumps. I mean, he looked like he was out in the WWE ring with that back bump. Anywho, love that. Love that. Little bits like that I really love. We didn't really get any deep lore other than Colony 5 and the Antares being destroyed. We didn't find out anything more about the universe at large, you know. It was a little weak in that, here are the things that I didn't like. And overall, I did not like the episode. I love the cast. Uhura's singing, beautiful. Nichelle Nichols is one of my first crushes as a kid. Anywho, her singing was sublime. And, you know, again, I find myself even more drawn to her because I love to learn more about Uhura. That's why I really hope that Uhura Spock thing is based in something. I would love to see more of that. Anywho, what I didn't like about it, just about everything. Charlie, wow. I did not care for the actor. I don't know what direction he was given for this particular role. To be, you know, be an arrogant, be a teenager that nobody cares for. Well, he nailed that. And I understand that that's what he was trying to go for. You know, this kind of temper tantrum child that's going to get his way, and you don't care about me, and you said you liked me, and blah, blah, blah. I get that. I understand all of that. And I understand that that's what they were going for. I still didn't like the choices that either the director gave the actor or the actor made himself to play Charlie. The eye thing, that definitely sounded, to me, that sounds like the director saying, hey, can you roll your eyes up in your head so we can only see the whites? And the guy that plays Charlie going, I don't know, sorta. And the director going, yeah, it'll work. You know, because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't something that even looked right. You know, you could still see some of his eyes. whatever, it drew me out of the fact that it was supposed to be like a very tense situation. Oh, he's using his powers. And instead I thought, this is silly, you know, this is a silly way to kind of activate his powers. I think it would have been better suited to have it be something else. I mean, even, you know, like the Chris Pratt hand or something, you know, it is something that could have just not been as, it just came off as goofy, I think, to me. Now, somebody else might have found it sinister, but I thought it was goofy. So with that being said, what else didn't I like? The pacing of the episode was a little off for me too. I know they were trying to speak of, you know, basically just butting your head against the wall with this kid and not being able to make any progress and everything, nothing worked. And, but it seemed like we kind of rushed through a lot of that stuff, you know, and it was kind of the tension of the moment was fulfilled with, you know, Charlie kind of navigating through the ship and doing terrible things, freezing people or turning them into an iguana, or, you know, the people came around the corner after they were laughing and the woman had no face. You know, I mean, all of those things by themselves should have been creepy, but I think they felt very rapid. It was very like a quick, here's several things that he's doing that it's incredibly effed up. And again, it just seemed silly with him doing it, you know, as, you know, the abstinent child, but, and the eye thing, it just, there was a lot of, it checked a lot of boxes for disbelief for me, you know, and this is Star Trek. I'm willing to believe just about anything, but it just came across as a little too corny for me, and I couldn't get away from it. I couldn't get away from the corniness of it. And that happened from the transporter pad when he had that like different view of what was going on. And, you know, he did his eye thing for the first time, and okay, you know, so that's what I didn't like about the episode was the title character of the episode. It didn't work real well. The other thing that I didn't like, I'm not a fan of the lighting in this episode. I don't know what they were trying. I don't know if they were trying to, I don't think they were, but it's almost like they were trying to simulate like the what is it called? The third, not the, I don't want to call it the like the red eye shift, but the shift that occurs during the middle of what would be night on the ship. You know, the one that goes from like 11 at night to 7 in the morning. You know, I'm not sure, you know, that's an alpha, beta, is it delta? I forget, the third shift. Anywho, you know, I don't know if they were trying to like simulate the nighttime. It almost seemed like they were, like they didn't have enough lights on in the Enterprise. Like, I'm wondering if they thought the other, now I do know that Charlie X wasn't the second episode they produced, it was the second one that they aired. So, you know, I'm not sure what they had learned from the other ones. Like maybe they were experimenting, thinking, and it's too bright, or we're having some like technical problems with the cameras because of, we need to lower the lighting a little bit. But when they lowered the lighting, when they would pull in on those close shots that they seem to love, not the, like, you know, they're between, you know, close and mid, you know, capturing, you know, the shoulders and up of the profile. But when they pull into those, they had to like add light, like, you know, lighting a light bar across the eyes, which had to have been shitty for the actors because, you know, they're staring at a fucking light. You know, no matter how you cut it, when you light yourself like this, you've either got some type of, you know, peripheral light source coming in at you or something straight ahead over the camera. It's not great. And it doesn't work. You know, it just looks strange. It looks, you know, like you're having this kind of like magic moment or like a angelic realization. Everything else is kind of powdered and fogged around, and then your face is all lit up. And I mean, or just right here, which, you know, again, it was jarring that they used it so much, and they really didn't move into that until they moved to the bridge. As soon as they went to the bridge, it was just all over the place. And that was, again, it was grating, and it took me out of the episode. And that, with Charlie's eyes and with the lighting, pulling me right out of the episode, it was tough to get back in. But I told somebody online, I said, you know, I was warned, not of this particular episode, but people warned me. They said, hey, you know, I love Star Trek, but the original series has some shitty episodes. And I believe my response was, and I might paraphrase a little bit, my response was, you know, but I'm kind of looking forward to one of those shitty episodes because I want to know if I hit a shitty episode, what it is. And, you know, I'd be able to start a comparison, you know, a ranking system, because I've really enjoyed The Cage and I really enjoyed The Man Trap. This is the first one I didn't really enjoy. Now, again, there may be ones that I don't enjoy even more than this, and I'll make sure to mention them. But right now I'm starting to get a ranking system. Not bad. And my final thing that I'll mention is this. And I don't think I want the answer to this, but I think that this is definitely something that could be out there for like a Strange New Worlds type of thing. You know, certainly doesn't seem like Charlie's dead. He was just taken, you know. Does Charlie come back? Does Charlie X have a repeat performance? I don't know. I never even heard of Charlie X before going into this episode. Didn't know if Charlie X was a person. I assumed it probably was a person because the thumbnail had somebody I didn't recognize on it. I thought, maybe that's Charlie X. But I didn't know the setup for it. Honestly, if somebody said Charlie X and asked me to identify it, I'd say, oh, it's a person who has amnesia, that doesn't know their name, you know, and he was given the title of Charlie X or John Doe, or, you know, that's what it sort of sounds like, you know, or they didn't like their last name or their family, and so they, you know, Charlie X is what I'll go by. You know, and I think that the title was an interesting choice, but not really indicative of what happened, because they did know his last name. They did know his family. It wasn't like he was, you know, without any type of history. Anywho, but that was Charlie X, everybody. Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 2, in the books, reacted to, and again, of the three that I've seen so far, my least favorite. But that's not to say that it might be, you know, I'm very glad I watched it because of the points that we made, but I'm looking forward, you know, again, I want to see the shitty ones, but again, now I'm starting to get a ranking system, and there's always something to take out of it. If I could take one thing away, Spock on the harp and Uhura singing, and that little exchange between the two of them. Does it have teeth? Is it something we'll see again? Boy, I hope so. My friends, if you've stuck with me this long, you are a legend. And if you would, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications for whenever we go live here on YouTube with our Star Trek or sci-fi related content. And if you ever would like to, there's a link in the description to our Patreon. Join us over there for full-length watch-alongs and reactions. We've succeeded in yet another one of our missions, but the adventure continues. Until next time, my friends, do me a favor, Vulcan roll, and I'll see you. Greetings, mon capitaines, and welcome to another installment of Q&A. Friends, here we are today to learn a couple of the tidbits that I learned about after having watched and reacted to Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 2, Charlie X. First and foremost, I'll say this. I'm doing this after having watched and reacted to Charlie X, and I might have been a little hard on it in my afterwards. So just to clarify, I didn't despise the episode. Of the ones that I've seen, it was my least favorite. And again, I leave it open for it to both rise and fall in the ranks whenever I get more things to compare it to. But for right now, it's my least favorite. So, you know, not in no particular order, The Cage and the Man Trap above Charlie X. So I didn't want to give Charlie X too much, you know, junk in case, you know, it might grow on me. I don't know. And I'm just leaving the door open. I think I was a little too harsh on it before. But my friends, this is where I go back after having watched and reacted to an episode, find some what I believe to be interesting tidbits about the episode, and share them with you here. The ones that I find the most fascinating. For, you know, obviously more exhaustive trivia and facts about the episode, you know, check out any of the, you know, Memory Alpha or even the Wikipedia. There are so many websites and so many Trek scholars out there that really do deep dives into all of this. And when I collect a lot of these things, it's usually from Memory Alpha. But again, if it's not, I'll make mention of it. But these are all from Memory Alpha. I saw them in different places, but it was all kind of put together over on Memory Alpha. So my friends, a couple things that I found interesting. In the scene on the bridge, whenever Spock began to spout poetry, the line, "Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary," spoken from Spock while under the influence of Charlie, actually comes from the poem The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Also, actually before he starts quoting The Raven, he says, "Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night," and that is that is a poem called The Tiger by William Blake. I thought those were very interesting. I picked them up whenever he was saying them, but I thought it was interesting that that's what Charlie made him say. And there's a distinction in there that made me actually like when I thought of that, it made me actually like the episode a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, so a couple of the production notes. The first draft of the script featured Uhura actually doing doing mimicry, where she would go around and mimic or do impressions of the rest of the crew. Whenever they found out that Nichelle Nichols could sing, they decided to go with that route. And I think it probably works better. Who knows, though? The ship's gymnasium was supposed to be a regularly occurring space in the ship. But apparently this is the first and only mention of the gymnasium. I'm not sure actually if it's mentioned, but it's the only time we actually see it. And what they said was during this scene, which was a refitted engineering, the space they used for engineering was refitted for the gymnasium. They did a lot of extra like tumbling and to get kind of like stock footage shots for places in the future. They never ended up using it, and the gymnasium was a one and done. Now, in her biography, Grace Lee Whitney, who is Janice Rand, mentions Robert Walker, who played Charlie, and said that he, as a method actor, that Robert Walker completely avoided the rest of the crew and cast. Didn't get around anybody else, wanted to be isolated, and wanted his performance to reflect this kind of separation from the rest of the society that was on the Starship Enterprise. And in that respect, I think he probably succeeded. I think he might have taken it a little, well, again, I don't want to give him too much, but this was a credit to him in that that's the way he worked as a method actor. She added in her autobiography, and I found this very telling, and again, this kind of made me rethink the performance in the episode a little bit. And my opinion of the episode isn't great, but the more I absorb some of these things, the more I start to know that in the future I might revisit it, maybe even give it another chance at some point. But anywho, what Grace Lee Whitney added in her memoir was, it's impossible to imagine anyone else in the role. And again, this is about Robert Walker, who played Charlie. He captured the perfect balance, projecting vulnerability, innocence, and a horrifying menace all at the same time. A lesser actor could not have handled the range and depth of the presented character. That's high praise. I mean, that's high praise. And again, she worked with him, so she knows far better than I the chops that Robert Walker had as an actor. So again, it just makes me rethink that perhaps I was a little bit too harsh in my knee-jerk reaction to it. So I just put a pin in it. We'll put a pin in it, and Charlie X will be one of those ones that might need a revisit at some point. And finally, during the first season episodes, cinematographer Jerry Finnerman was encouraged to maximize placement of colored background lighting. This colored background lighting was supposed to add exotic warmth to the kind of Spartan gray walls of the Enterprise, and also show off color. And because RCA, who owned NBC at the time, loved selling them some color TV sets, this was heavily pushed. Now, later when color became more vibrant and more accepted and more just universal, they did away with it. But I think this likens back to what I said in my thoughts about the lighting. I mean, not liking the lighting, everything seemed to be too dark. This makes a lot more sense now because they were keeping it dark to show the colors as they were projected on the walls, which now stands to reason that definitely, probably, and most likely, played something into that odd lighting choice that they had made for this particular episode. Now, it might string over in these first couple as they continue to try to reinforce that explosion of color and fulfill RCA's mandate to sell more TVs. So I thought that was very interesting and also very practical. And it explains a lot about the lighting choices that they made. But my friends, those are the little tidbits I came up with for Charlie X. Many of them I thought were very interesting, especially Grace Lee Whitney's comments about Robert Walker, the actor playing Charlie X. They seem to be, they were high praise. And I read additional quotes that were high praise about Robert Walker's Charlie. And again, I think I'm going to have to revisit it because I think I just knee-jerked with the eye thing and started down a path to snark that maybe was unwarranted. I'm not ready to change my opinion yet, but I'll definitely think it over to make sure that I'm as informed as possible whenever I finish this lovely journey. My friends, thank you for sticking around. This has been the Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 2, Charlie X Q&A. So, my friends, mon capitaines, until we meet again.